Welcome to the Mentor Training Program. You haven't just chosen a career.
You've chosen a path.
One that only the best of the best could travel.
And only the best can train our drivers.
From the fundamentals of safe driving to strategic time management, the knowledge you pass on to each student will forever shape their career as a driver. That is your path.
Their future, their success.
And with the extra miles, the weekly bonus, and the potential to continue earning even after the student upgrades from your truck, the only question you need to ask yourself is,
why didn't I do this sooner?
Hi everyone, good afternoon. We are here today to talk about mentors. So we appreciate you joining us today. And I'd like to start off by saying if you have questions about mentoring or what it means to be mentor, anything related, drop it in the chat. We love to answer your questions live. I'll start out by introducing myself. I am Annette Moscoso and I am a regional qualification leader. In simple terms, what that means is we work with team members that help onboard new drivers and send them out for training that go out with our mentors. With that, Joran?
How you guys doing? My name is Joran Bean. I'm the Director of Driver Qualification. I get to work with all the wonderful men and women out there training our drivers. I get to work with Annette and our wonderful staff across the country that help onboard and train all of our student drivers.
Awesome. Before we start into it, want to tell us a little bit about what mentoring even means? Maybe if we have someone that isn't familiar or maybe not with Swift yet and are interested in coming, what does it mean to be a mentor at Swift?
Absolutely. So first off, what a great commercial, right? I don't know who that bald guy was on the commercial, but I think I recognized him. But
I think he's your brother.
My little brother. So mentoring at Swift, when a student driver, so somebody who just got their license, their CDL, and they come on to work at Swift, what we like to do is we like to put them out for some remedial training with one of our mentors. So our program is you're going to come in, you're going to be sat with one of our qualified mentors, you're going to go out over the road, you're going to do some training with them. We have a program, our standard program is a 4-week program, but that's just really kind of the tip of it, right? When you get out and you're training with the mentor, our objective is to get you trained so you're safe, you're capable, you're confident in driving a truck solo, and so when you're out there on your own, you're able to successfully drive safely.
Yeah, I think it's just assessing, right, from the Swift side of things. So every company operates a little differently, so it just lets you go out with a mentor that's familiar with our policies, procedures, how we do things at Swift, and just make sure that if you have questions on the road or just getting familiar with it, we're able to have someone in the truck with you to be able to help you be successful on the road.
100%.
Awesome. With that, the other thing we talked about is new drivers going through the program to help them be better drivers. But I guess we kind of hit on that, right? Just part of lumps it in all together. We do have a couple questions that I want to go into. I know some of the things that we want to talk about is debunking some myths out there. So things maybe the rumor mill, something you heard at a truck stop or at a terminal. But before we get in that, we had a couple great questions from drivers. So the first one is, I want to be a mentor, but I keep hearing that the pay isn't worth the risk. Then I hear that some mentors make good money. How much do mentors actually make?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a loaded question. So is mentoring worth it? It all depends on the person. So there's a couple ways I like to look at mentoring. Obviously, we want folks who are really interested in training people, that have that skill set, that enjoy working with people, that want to see people improve their skills. So there is a special person that we want training. Now, that being said, should you be compensated for that? Absolutely. Like, that's a no-brainer. So we want people who enjoy training, who enjoy people, but we also want to make sure that they make more money. And so one thing, it's always been kind of taboo to talk about mentor and making money. You know, you should do it because you love it. You should, but you should also get paid for it. Like, I mean, you're doing an extra service, and so why make it taboo? I would say over all of our lines of businesses, on average, our mentors are making right around $550 more a week than our solo drivers. So when you look at something like that, there is money to be made in this. Now, again, that's an average. There's some make a little less, some make a little bit more, and there's a lot of variables. Miles come into play, you know, different times of year, the market. I mean, there's so many variables in trucking. The only consistency in trucking is inconsistency, right? So when you look at it like that, though, across the entire year last year, our average for most of our lines of businesses was about $550, some more. So when you put, I was putting pen to paper on that just to play around. One of the other common myths we have is, well, I have to train all the time. If I become a trainer, I got to train all the time. It's just not true. Like, don't get me wrong, we have students that need training, but we're not going to force anybody to go train if they're not wanting to train. It is a tax having somebody in your truck all the time, in your space, and that's something that we respect and we value. But one of those myths is I have to always train, but that's just not true. So just some numbers to put, again, 550, if we're using that as the average, if you train 12 weeks, which would be equivalent to around 3 students, if you did just 3 students in a year, that would be about $6,600 more a year. Now, anybody who's familiar with really beat up old motorcycles, that's like 3 Harleys. I know, because that's the dumb stuff I spend my money on.
Is that the junkyard?
Yeah, most of the time. I buy broke motorcycles a lot. But all jokes aside, if you train 24 weeks, which would be 6 students, then you can make right around $13,000. That's not a small, I mean, we're not talking about little money here. If you train 40 weeks, that's 12 weeks shy of the whole year. I mean, that's quite a few weeks, but it's not the entire year. You can make upwards of $22,000. And so when you're looking at like, what is it you're making annually as a solo driver, the potential to make $20,000, $25,000 more a year, it's not far-fetched. And again, that's the average. So there's a lot of variables at play. We can't say any of it for sure because miles are, they vary obviously week to week. But I'm telling you guys, there's absolutely money to be made as a trainer. Now, can anybody train? Yeah, we encourage everybody to apply to train, but not everybody's set to train. So there might be people who training's just not for them. We remove people from the program sometimes because we want the right people training. But we definitely try to coach, we try to provide tools, we want to help the right trainers stay training. That was a long answer.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
But I think that goes to show money is to be had in there, along with all the other great benefits that come along with it, is training our future drivers.
Absolutely.
I think about that a little bit. I talk about this in some of our internal conversations, like me teaching my son how to drive, right? I'm going to be on the road with him, so I want to be the one to help teach him to drive, and kind of correlates into businesses. You're teaching our future drivers out there that are going to be on the roadway with you, with your family. So why not have a hand in that and teaching them the right way and all the great tools that you've learned along the way?
It's a great way. I mean, when you look at the folks that are training our drivers today, a lot of those drivers, I talk to a lot of mentors often, and we have some incredible people on our program, I'm telling you. I mean, you saw in the video there, it was Bill and Ricky and Kim, Moses. I've got Bruce out in Edwardsville. I mean, I just got off the phone with Terrence. These are all incredible mentors who really love what they do. They make friends with their students. They create relationships with them. I mean, they create their own little community of people that they know and that they continue to work with months, years after they've trained them. And it's just really cool to see the community of mentoring and students. When you get into the world of it a little bit, how many people that they affect, like their careers. And we have a driver here, Avocado, who is part of a whole network of mentors who have trained. One mentor trained these students who then became mentors, who have now got students who have become mentors. And it's just wild to see how the program has grown and how much it means to a lot of people.
It's a lot of avocados.
Right. I mean, think about that. At the price of an avocado, that's pretty big.
All right, next question we have was from Jason. Is love being a mentor. So thank you, first off, for being a mentor.
Yes, thank you.
What is Swift doing to avoid all the sitting and no freight while having trainees on the truck?
Yeah, that's another loaded question. I mean, anybody familiar with the trucking market, it's just, I mean, again, I hate to keep bringing up COVID. I think some of y'all have probably heard of it. So in the last 3 years, 4 years, we've not really had a traditional freight cycle. I mean, I've been in trucking, I'm in my 19th year. I never thought I'd see this. And I mean, the last 3 years have been just insane. No normal quarter has been normal in the last 3 years. And so I think we're actually finally starting to see what I would dare say, and I don't even know if I want to use the word normal, but we're starting to see some normalcy to some of the freight market. Traditionally, for those who've been in trucking more than, probably call it 4 years, the first quarter is a little bit slower. You had a big ramp up in the fourth quarter for all your holidays and such, and so your first quarter does tend to be a little bit on the slower side. I would dare say we're starting to kind of see a little bit of normalcy, and maybe the market's starting to settle to where we might see one of our first, traditional years this year. So I don't know. I'm not a freight guy. I mean, I can't. My little crystal ball broke this morning on the way to work, but I would say that we're going to see a little bit of an uptick coming into the second quarter. Again, I'm hoping that we're going to see a little bit more of a traditional market, but we're always trying to keep our mentors moving. We know that really they're some of the most important people in our business. I mean, they're training the future drivers, and it's just so important that they get that actual experience on the road.
Well, and I also think you having a student on your truck and having lower freight, you're already not going to be making as much money because you're not moving the miles. But having a student, you're getting paid a flat weekly rate for having them on your truck, right? And so even though market is a little bit slower if you don't have freight, there's great opportunity to go over flow code information, Swift policies, go to a parking lot, do some backing. So although yes, it is over the road, what you're trying to train them on is road items. There's also other things, pre-trip inspections. So having a little bit of a slower freight market allows you to actually do some one-on-one training, coaching outside of being behind the wheel. Trip planning is a big one. So just other opportunities that you have outside of that when you have the student on your truck instead of video games, maybe. I don't know. So hope that answers your question, Jason. Again, thanks a lot for being a mentor. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
If you do have further questions, mentors@swifttrans.com. So always send questions that you have over. We're happy to answer them. We have quite a bit in the chat, so I want to go through some of those. We have a couple individuals that says that they're getting their permit tomorrow. So I know we're talking about mentors, but even the first step, even before that, is getting a CDL. And Swift offers academy across the United States at various locations that can help you get your CDL. So that's a great opportunity if you're not in trucking and you don't have a CDL yet.
Absolutely.
Looks like we have a question about how many months experience do I need to become a mentor?
So there's two ways to look at it. If you're a current Swift driver, if you came through as a trainee, once you go solo, we want to see at least 9 months of experience with some winter driving in there. And then you could put in the application and it's going to go to your terminal ops team and then your safety team to review kind of more of the fine details to determine quality. If you're an experienced hire and you came here from outside of Swift and you had a year or plus experience, then we're going to want to see at least 30 days of operating within the Swift network, and then you can again put in your application. I believe there's the flow code. I'm not sure if we have it, but there's a flow code you can go into, mentoring students, and there's a apply now button that you can hit that'll take you right to our application.
Yeah, I think we have that up now. So anyone that is currently a Swift driver, if you go using the flow codes, and you can find these on your Point app, they're at the terminals, you might have visor cards, but if you click on the mentor/student, it's going to lead you to the flow code there that has everything mentor related. So maybe if you're looking for the qualifications, pay options that they offer, and then how to apply. So it's going to be the first thing on top there, and big lettering on how you can apply.
A little bit more information too. There's some goofy mentor minutes in there. We try to have a little bit of fun in this department. And so there's some videos in there that give a little bit more information about kind of what the mentor program has going on. It has a video about our paperwork. We're really trying to be as transparent as possible. We look at the mentors and the DQ team as a unity, one team. Like we want to be there to support you. We want to provide you information. I've seen some stuff where, well, we hear our information through our students, and it breaks my heart. Like I like to think we're putting good information out there. We're putting out mentor minutes. We're trying to put them on the portal. You know what? But I'm resilient. We're going to keep putting out information. We're going to keep going after it, and eventually I will win that battle. We want to work hand in hand with our mentors. Those are our people. So you guys are definitely valuable to us.
Awesome. I think we answered this question, but I want to make sure we just hit on it again. Is school mandatory? Do you provide the service? For example, if I apply to work with you, I do the CDL there. So going back to the academy, right? If they don't have one, they can apply to go to the academy first for schooling to get qualified and certified for a CDL.
Yeah.
And then they'll go through the training program.
Yeah, if you put in the application, the recruiter will reach out to you, and then they'll line you up with all the information you need based on where you live, what academy is the closest, and so we'll get you set up at one of our academies, and then they'll get you all dialed in so you can start working to get your CDL.
And we should have that kind of ribbon on the bottom of the page here of where you can go to driveswift.com. You can look up more information there, or feel free to call a recruiter and they can answer any questions for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you already have your CDL, just give us a call and we'll get you started with training. After you onboard, actually. Let's see here. What about mentors that are lease operators? The question after that is, how much more can they make?
That's a good question. I don't have the numbers on the lease operators on the difference. What I can tell you, and it's going to be vague, and I apologize. So when Annette and I came from, anybody who's been here longer than, call it 6 years, we were rapid responders back in our heyday. So I don't have my hat with me, but
We were very rapid, so we got out.
Yeah, we were getting old. My hip was hurting. I couldn't go as fast. And no, we ran the rapid response team for a long time, and I can tell you, again, the right people training is the most important thing we look for. But as an independent contractor, there's absolutely the big math number here is you can run as a super solo. I mean, if you have a student on your truck, the student runs their hours, and you're up in the front working with them, and then you can still stretch out that clock based on the whole day. And so there's the opportunity to run a little bit more on the mileage. That's where you're going to see a lot of the benefit to mentoring financially. And that goes for the company side too. It's really the dispatched miles are all paid to the mentor, both on the ICTCs and for the company mentor. That's where a lot of that bogey comes from. So as an ICTC, if you're driving, let's say 2,000 miles, and then you start training and you end up running around 2,800 miles, that 600 to 800 miles, that's gonna get paid to you as well. And that is where you're gonna see the benefits to the training.
Yes. And for those that aren't familiar, ICTC is Independent Contractor Training Consultant.
Can you say it one more time?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Rewind. You just go back after the live rewind. But those are independent contractors that they have a training agreement and addendum because they are different from a Swift employee. So it operates a little bit differently, but I think the end is there's money to be had based on the students and the revenue that's ran from the truck. So there is great opportunity there on both ends. All right, let's see. Maybe we could jump into some myths, and then we can come back to some of these questions as I go through them for us. But some other myths out there is I'm not an OTR. I'm not on an OTR fleet.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, Swift runs a lot of different types of accounts. And so really, we're hiring students that are going to be going in the refrigerated, they're going to be going to flatbed, they're going to go grocery. I mean, again, with all of our lines of businesses and all of the opportunities we have, we're going to see students in all those businesses. So we need mentors in those businesses to train them. So just because you're not an OTR doesn't mean, OTR is over the road for those who don't know. But just because you might be in a refrigerated account, if we're hiring students, then we're going to need mentors in that account to train those students. Now, another piece of that is if we don't have mentors in a different account, we may utilize you to help train some of our students. Because training on a refrigerated versus a dry line haul truck, similar stuff, besides the reefer unit. And so there's opportunities to be had. Getting the right people, I can't stress enough, getting the right people who really genuinely enjoy people is really what we want to kind of shoot for. We want people who can work with newer drivers who have the ability to hands-on train and show folks how to do things safely, how to be confident while they're doing it so that when they get out on their truck on their own, that they're safer drivers.
Awesome. The next one is I don't want to lose my current driver ranking if I become a mentor.
Yeah, and so when you look at at Swift, we have performance bonuses, and so our performance bonus for the mentors and for the solo drivers I think they're actually the same. I'll get back to you on that one. They're very similar,
Yes.
And so you're not going to lose your bonus. I mean, unless something drastically changes and you decide once you start training that you're going to stop driving and you're not going to, like the truck starts performing poorly. I mean, you're in control of what happens to your performance. And so I would say that shouldn't change unless you change something about how you're running. And your ops team is going to work with you as those things kind of occur.
Well, and I think too that I lost my train of thought there when you kept talking. Sorry.
I do that.
Big fish from
Yeah.
back in. I think. I was gonna say Swift. Right. We want to do the right thing for our drivers, regardless of whatever the situation is. So never of being a mentor or anything else are we trying to make it more difficult for you or for losing opportunities and benefits. So if something does happen during your course of mentoring and there's a problem, bring it up to your operations team, your driver leader, fleet leader, terminal leader. Call your driver qualification team. We want to make it right. So these things that are coming up of losing ranking or anything like that, that's never our intentions. We want to make sure that you're still keeping those same benefits.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing that. And to her point, we live in the gray. Again, the only consistency in trucking is inconsistency. If something happens, which mistakes happen, I mean, we're all human. I promise you, anyone in the office, we make mistakes too. And the one thing that I can attest to, I mean, been in the DQ team a long time. If an error is made, we correct the error right away. And that's something that I'm proud of too, is I know if there's an error made, we're going to be right on top of it, making it right, because we understand things happen.
Yep. And then Jenny put in the comments here, Jenny is part of our team. Without mentors, there is no DQ, but also there's no future drivers, right? We got to train them, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, Swift is a huge company. When you look at it, we do train a vast number of drivers, and most of our fleet came through our training program. And so a lot of the men and women at Swift today driving went through our training program. And I can tell you year over year, we've seen our numbers improve in the safety side. I'm proud of where we are as a program. I think the great folks we have in the DQ team that kind of help shepherd everybody on, and then the wonderful folks out there training, I mean, it's just a great combination.
Definitely. Jerry, who is also another team member, put in here, which I thought was a good call out, is we trust our mentors to do the best job safely and professionally possible. And so maybe you want to hit a little bit on that, we try to put a little bit of trust and faith in our drivers to make the choice of if something doesn't look right, safety's an issue, we want to make sure that they're making those decisions as well. It's not just from the Swift end of things, but also them allowing them to do that.
Yeah, we don't work off the whole mandate thing. I mean, we have training paperwork that our students have with them when they get on the truck with our mentors, but the paperwork is kind of like the roadmap, right? You still got to pre-trip it, you still got to work through it, you got to navigate when something comes up in the road, you got to make decisions. I mean, things happen, and so when our mentors are doing the training, we expect that they're going to operate accordingly, they're going to make good common sense decisions, that they have our trust, that they're gonna operate the way a safe truck driver would. They're gonna demonstrate for their student what they should do in the event of whatever happens. And so that trust factor is just, I don't think we've ever been as tight with our mentors as we are today. And I have to give all that to the DQ team. I think we have an incredible DQ team who have built relationships with the mentors and know who the mentors are. And as things happen, again, things will happen. You call your DQ team. They have almost all of our DQ staff. The mentors have their cell number. They can call them right away. And then we have a conversation and we make a good common sense decision, and then we move forward. We value our mentors that much when it comes to the training experience, to the training paperwork, to the, when they bring them in for upgrade, if there's some additional remedial training that might be needed. Like we always are looking to synergize and work with our mentors to make the best decision to put the right drivers on the road.
Definitely. Even beyond that, we have changed things in our process within our paperwork, our testing, our skills based on driver feedback, whether it be a student or mentor.
Absolutely.
So definitely our drivers are our resources, and we're always open to hear what you have to say. One of the questions on here is there an online class or orientation to become a mentor, and how long are they?
Yeah, so we actually have a class out there today. So once you put an application in, it goes through the operations team, the safety team, then you'll be assigned the mentor class in our Swift University. And so it's a couple-hour class today. Annette and I have actually been working on kind of revamping and creating a new class. So we're hoping to introduce that in the next couple months. We're going to have a new class that we're going to roll out for our mentors. And then we'd like to see, I'd like to start working towards some additional training. That I don't think it ever hurts to have more information out there and more stuff to help our mentors with their tools, if you will. We want to put more information. That's kind of what the mentor minutes were supposed to do, is give them a little bit more information, give them stuff to either sharpen their tools or give them additional tools so that while they're training the students, they're able to kind of navigate any questions the students may encounter.
Awesome. Another question on here from Taurus is, when you get done with your mentor, do you get your truck?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's the idea. Yeah, again, our program, there's some conversations out there about the program. Our standard program is around a 4-week program. And I say that with kind of the parentheses, it's a standard program, but really what I want everybody to really understand is we want you to train until you're ready to go solo. That may mean 5 weeks, it may mean 6 weeks. I don't want people to get hung up on this idea of like their pride, I gotta be 4 weeks and I'm done. If we feel there's other things that could be needed to help you just be that much safer, we want to make sure that you're ready to go before you are actually released solo. And then that being said, once you come in and you do your upgrade, we hope you have a great experience at the terminal with the DQ team doing the upgrade. And then our goal would be, if I had my wish, we'd have a red carpet, rolls all the way out to the truck, you skip down the carpet, you get in, there's a little mint on the pillow, like all that experience. The day you upgrade, I'd love to see you in your truck that day would be kind of our ideal situation. Now, pending availability of trucks and such, we may not always get that, but right away after upgrade, we want to see our students sat, because you just did all this work to get yourself there. We don't want to wait, and you don't use it, you lose it, right? So we want to get you in a truck, we want to get you under dispatch, and we want to make sure you can get out and get that first successful run under your belt so you can just feel that much more confident about being out there on your own.
If we put mints on our pillows, the little chocolate ones, I might be out in the trucks all day. So
Well, not in
might
Phoenix.
wanna-
Yeah, Phoenix, the mints won't last very long. I'm not, maybe candy canes, something
Not
that
in the
melts
summer
too.
too either, right? I want to give a shout out. Mike Henderson here says, over the 25 years as a mentor, I believe this is the best time to be a student at Swift. That's awesome to hear.
Hey, thanks, Mike. No, and again though, I think it's everybody's hand in this. I mean, we've changed a lot over the last 5 or 6 years. The DQ team's a little more dynamic with kind of how we operate with mentors. Our mentors have been empowered more than I've seen. I mean, we really do want to work hand in hand. I mean, there is no us without you. It's so cliche. I hate saying that, but the truth. I mean, Mike, if it wasn't what you do, there'd be no need for me. And so I think once we started really understanding and appreciating that, we're seeing the program just make improvements leaps and bounds. And it's because we have the right people training, though. I mean, again, I cannot say it enough. I love working with mentors. They're some of the heartbeat of this entire company, and the better our mentors are, the better this company is, and I don't know, the happier I am. It makes me pretty stoked.
Awesome. Elizabeth is attending our Virginia Academy soon, so
Fancy.
amazing. We always are in need of more female mentors. Our female driver population is smaller, so definitely the need for them, and we continue to have more females coming into the industry. So the more mentors we have, the more females that we can train. I'll call you, Liz, after you've gotten out of your training. Let's see here. Let's go back to some myths. I don't want to sleep while a student is driving, and I don't want to drive team.
Yeah, I think that's I mean, there's a lot of mentors out there. That's another great thing, I think, that a myth I'd love to just dispel. We don't mandate you to do, we trust our mentors, guys. I can't say that enough. I'm not going to force you to drive when you don't want to drive. Nobody at Swift should force you to drive when you don't feel safe driving. If you're a mentor and you want to be in the front seat the entire time the student's training, you're going to, for our company mentors, you're going to get the incentive pay each week. But most students aren't going to get on your truck and just rock and roll out a whole full day's driving. Driving is a lot harder than I think people really understand it to be. So if your student comes in and they run 6 or 7 hours, and then you guys switch seats and you run the rest of the shift out, and you get continue the load on, you can run what we call kind of super solo. And that's kind of what we encourage you to do. And so if you're a solo driver and you're running around 1,800 miles a week, and you're running as a mentor and you're running around 2,800 miles a week, which is totally sustainable and can be done as a super solo. And that means you're up and you're right there with the student the entire training experience, and you're still going to make more money as a mentor. Not that it's all about money, but I mean, let's keep it real. That's what we're all here to do. We're here to take care of our families. I would love to live in this happy world of we all do it just for the gee golly good of it and the pats on the back. But the reality is, you're here to make money for your families or whatever it is you're here to make money for. And we want to see you be as successful as possible and make as much money as you can safely and get back home to see your families. And so if mentoring can give you that tool to take the next step in your career, then we want to be the team that can help you get there.
I think that's a great point out, the next step in the career, right? Once you go out and you kind of learn to drive and you are sufficient at it and you're doing great, that's really that next step that you can earn more money and do more within trucking, behind the wheel, outside of going to the office or other roles, but
Absolutely.
being able to train our future students. The other myth I have here is I don't want to train all the time. Well, we answered that one actually. I don't know if I qualify. We answered this one when we shared the flow code, but just to go back to that really quick, do you want to hit on what those are, the qualification items? You can look in the flow code as well, but sharing some of those.
No, but you can. You have them pulled up.
All right, I was trying to help you out there.
No, sorry.
One of the things that we hit on was the 9 months from solo date. So after you upgrade from training, if you went through training, Smart Drive score below 20. Those that aren't with Swift is we have the dash cams in the truck, and so we're always, again, safety is top priority. We want to make sure you're a safe driver out there, so below 20. Moving violations, no more than 1 moving violation in the last 12 months. And then crashes, no preventable on-road crash in the last 12 months or preventable off-road crash in the last 12 months. And then the other thing is 3 months of driving experience. Do you maybe want to shed a little bit light on why we do the 3 months winter driving?
Yeah, I mean, we just want to make sure that you've experienced, that you've seen kind of what's out there. And again, it all comes back to really the right people training. Those are all the numbers that we look at. Those are like the prereq qualifiers that you can pull through a report. The other big piece of it, I think, is just the people. We want to make sure the right people are training. And some folks, I mean, if you have a tough temperament and you're not as you're a little, let's just be honest, you don't like people. Yeah, probably not a good trainer. We probably shouldn't have you training. Nothing personal. It's just not. That's not like I'm not a figure skater. I just not probably going to work for me. A little too husky for that. So if you're not a people person, then we probably don't want you training. If you really enjoy people and you really like training and teaching is something that you just really have a passion for, then we're more likely to lean towards you because we want to figure out how we can put the information that you have. We want to try to help kind of just gift that to these students in a way that they'll retain it so that when they go out on their own, they're able to be safe and drive the truck with confidence that they know what they're doing. So it's really, I think the biggest, aside from, I mean, there's obviously time, we want to see safety, we want to see and different things of that, but it's just the right people. We want to make sure, I want my mentors out there that are training, like Mike was saying, this is the best time. Well, I want him to keep that attitude. I want to make sure that he's proud of the people that are around him that are training. I want him to be proud of us that we're supporting him and his team in the way that they need to be supported. And I think if we keep putting the right people in the program, we're just going to see this program get better and better and something that we can all be proud of because we are the biggest truckload carrier out there. And I know that I don't take it lightly that the folks that we upgrade and put in trucks every day are the people that we believe are going to be safe and capable and confident. And so I want my mentors to believe in us the way we believe in them.
It's definitely a team effort, right? From the onboarding, from our recruiters, kind of vetting them through the process, them doing all the pre-hire
Absolutely.
stuff, to going to our driver qualification team to get all the information and all the all the upfront information that to making sure that they're successful, going out with the mentor and vetting them that way. So there's a lot of steps to even becoming a solo driver.
Absolutely.
When you get out with Swift. So it's not just you're getting in a truck first day that you get hired on.
The old days of the heartbeat in a seat or can you fog a mirror, man, those days they're gone. Like what she just said, I didn't even think about that. Like just recruiting drivers, we have a higher standard. And then so just getting in the door, you've already met certain standards that are higher than I think ever before. And then to get through and get hired and then to get onto a truck and then to pass through our training. I mean, it is tough. I'm not gonna say this is not a bird course. You've got to have the skill set, you've got to have the determination to make this your career. And the folks that have done it and that have passed through and that are out there driving solo, I hope that they are as confident as I believe they are. I hope that they feel the pride in going through this entire program and coming out and being a safe, capable driver.
Yeah, I hear our recruiters out there every day having these conversations, and there's a long list of questionnaires, and some make it through it, and some, unfortunately, they don't meet the criteria. So, again, just vetting drivers to even get in the door, and then thereafter is those drivers that we are upgrading, they're great quality drivers.
Totally.
And they're learning too as well. So even for our newer students out there, giving yourself grace to learn the road. It's not an easy job, especially nowadays with traffic and everything going on, but you guys do a great job. A question we have from a current mentor. He has a Top Gun student on his truck, and he wants to know if the 50-hour rule applies.
Yes. So that we just threw a bunch of stuff at people who are like, what is that? So Top Gun is a kind of an alternative training program we have where our drivers will go out and they do more yard work and they do some specific training at we have a dozen locations across the country. So they do more of a 1 week kind of honed in defined training. Then they go out and their training program is, again, it's about 2 weeks. I say that because it could be 3, it could be 4. I mean, the idea is they can train for 2 weeks over the road and they could be eligible to upgrade. But again, it's based on when they are ready. And then what they had said to what about the first 50 hours? The first 50 hours is really, it's the first week of training that the student is on any mentor's truck. We want our mentor in that front jump seat. We want to make sure that mentor is up there working with our student, making sure that we're evaluating their skill sets, that they're getting comfortable with that person driving. I mean, this is a newer driver, and we want to make sure that they have their security blanket right here so that if something were to happen, they could ask questions, they can have conversations, they can really spend that first week dialing in their comfort level with each other before they go and move more to that super solo where maybe the student drives a little bit of the front end with the mentor in the back or the back end with the mentor in the back. It gives them a little bit of that comfort to be able to do that in a way that they both feel confident and safe in.
Definitely.
That's because we love you. I want to make sure mentors understand that. It's a safety thing. We want to make sure it's because we love you. We want our mentors to be very comfortable and safe with the new driver on their truck.
One of the questions here about our trucks is, does Swift only have automatic trucks? Yes.
Okay, I was like, you left
The
me with a
question
comment
was,
on that.
all I drove in school was a standard. That's what they're used to. But our fleet is automatic.
we have shifted over to now. We have I want to say there might be like 7 ICTCs that have older trucks that might be manual. I do not believe we have any. There's no manuals in the company side today though. We've shifted all the way to automatics. Yeah.
All right, looks like we have a couple more final myth busters here before we kind of wrap things up. But the next one we have is, I don't think I have enough experience to be a good mentor. What do you say to those people?
So I don't know why this just popped in my head right now, and I hope it's appropriate. So I didn't think I had enough experience to be a dad. And you know what, my son, I'll tell you what, the kid's almost 20 years old. I think I did a pretty solid job. You know, I can't answer that for you. I would say that if you don't feel that you're confident enough to do it and you really feel adamant about that, then don't do it. Like, again, this isn't a pyramid scheme or strong arm tactics. I want good people who want to train, that are interested in it, to reach out to us. If you're lacking in a certain area and you feel that you want maybe a little remedial training in a certain area to see if you're really comfortable. Let's say maybe you don't feel confident in your backing. If you want to go see somebody at our DQ team and maybe ask to go out with one of our road evaluators to the back of the yard and have them show you what kind of a backing class or an LCQT, and we can do kind of a one-on-one. And if you don't feel comfortable after that, then hey, best of luck to you. Keep driving out there, be safe, and we wish you the well. If you kind of are on the edge and you're just like, I'm just not really sure, I don't know, if you qualify and you talk to your ops team and you have the desire to do it, man, the only thing, like, I read a quote, and I'm going to screw this quote up horrible. When you get old, you're going to look back at the things you wish you'd have done, and what? You know what I mean? Like, if you think that you might be good at mentoring, but you're not really sure and you have a passion to maybe try it, though, give it a try.
Just try one student.
Just give it a try. Again, one student. Again, I'm not going to come, jump out of the, and, you better train every single week. That's not the game plan we do here. Go train one student, and if you realize, hey, after one student, you're like, I don't really think this is for me, hey, I appreciate you trying. Like, we appreciate our mentors that are out there that can do it all the time. I really do appreciate those guys. I mean, that takes a lot to have somebody in your space that you got to share space. And so there's a lot of respect. I can't tell you enough for our guys that do it all year long. A ton of respect. If you try it once and you don't like it, thanks for trying. But you may find, hey, you know what? I actually really enjoy this. Driving can be a lonely job. And maybe training, you find that, hey, this really made sense. And actually, I found, there's another quote I'm gonna totally ruin, is that, sometimes by training, you're strengthening your own skill set too by training someone. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to be had there, and you can't lose if you try.
Next time, take a screenshot of your quotes,
Oh,
and then
I'm
you can
terrible,
bring them to
right?
our lives.
And I'll just have
Was that by Albert Einstein? Is
Yeah.
that one's from?
Frank McGillicuddy once said.
I have another, the last one here on our list is, what if I don't get along with my student?
Oh, that's just no good. No, I'm kidding. So this one has come up a couple times. I've had a couple conversations with mentors. I think I was told not to say this, but Match.com doesn't always work. Like, I don't know why people think that if there's a match, it has to work. Like, there's times, believe it or not, there was a time Annette didn't like working with me. And now look, she loves me.
Still don't.
We're going to make matches the best we can to position that student and mentor in a place that we can be the most successful. We want to put that student in a way so they can get the best training they can get. After a couple, if you're on a truck for a week and you realize, I just can't sit with her any longer. Like, it's just driving me crazy. And whatever it is, before it gets to crazy, she's just driving me bonkers. We're not quite to crazy. Man, call your DQ team, have a conversation. These are two grown adults. Maybe we act childish sometimes, but we're still adults. We should be able to have a conversation and say, hey, this isn't working. Can I get a different mentor, or can I get a different student? And no harm, no foul. We don't expect, again, Match.com doesn't even work, and they got all kinds of algorithms that are supposed to make it work, and everyone's supposed to get married, but that doesn't work. So we're doing our best to just put people together so we can give them training so they can go out and be safe. If it doesn't work, hey, just use your DQ team. Don't let, I use the analogy like a little rock in your shoe. If you have a rock in your shoe and you walk a little and it's annoying, and then after a week, man, that rock in your shoe could become a problem. Don't let it become a problem. Once you see something that becomes annoying and you don't think there's going to be a solution, again, two adults should be able to have a conversation and try to work it out. Now, that being said, I'm going to say by experience, I've tried to talk with Annette about things that bother me, and she's stubborn and rude to me and sometimes mean. If it's not going to be able to be worked out, then let's just separate. Let me go try it with a different mentor. Let her go try it with a different student, and it's all good. Like, there's no harm, no foul. We don't want there to be this like need that you have to stay on the truck together. You will not be penalized for that. We already know, again, we can't respect you for going out and having people on your truck and being willing to train and then be so silly about the parameters of how you train. Like, we've got to trust our mentors, and you can't just trust some and not trust here. We trust all the way around. If it's not working, then let's talk and let's work on a plan to respectfully separate you guys properly, get them set up and get you set up, and just move forward. There's no reason it needs to become anything more than just a disagreement. You guys shake hands and walk away.
And I think sometimes that's the biggest adjustment, right, from mentoring, aside from them being in your space. But as a mentor, being able to adapt to different personalities and different people is not everyone's the same. Totally. Not everyone's going to learn the same. But being able to mold and be able to be adaptable in those times. Yes, flexible.
There you go.
Which Mike brings up another one here. Another myth that he has is mentoring ends when the student is done on your truck. The truth is, you're a mentor for the rest of your student's career. Tell your students that you're always available if they need help. And I see that all the time. You know, coming from an ops role is they'll reach out to their mentor if they have questions, they're not sure how to do something, or maybe they learned a tip that they can't quite remember. Maybe a quote that they told them that they can't remember. They just give them a ring.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, Mike is just an example of a great mentor. That's what I talked to a lot of mentors. I'm telling you, I had a great, long, spirited conversation with a mentor named Terrence today, and he was fun. But, you know, we had a little bit of a wild conversation yesterday, and then we had a fun one today. And, you know, and he's just, the way he talks about how he trains and how he believes being a mentor is, that's what I do. Like, that, it fires me up to know that those guys are out there, that your training isn't done when you get off my truck. Like, your training, you're always my student. And I think that's what we've seen the community become, is that a lot of these mentors really keep touch with a lot of their students. Not every one of them. Again, different people, different personalities. But at the end of the day, I think great mentors are going to produce great students, and great students are going to be safe drivers. And it's just, that's the formula we're going with. And so far, I think we've done a pretty good job.
I like that. I think that's a good segue into closing out today's episode. We'll be back with more. We're here last month. I can't remember now. Days fly by. But we'll be back with future lives for you guys to ask questions. Hopefully you all took something away from it, whether it's you're a current mentor, you are thinking about becoming a mentor, or even just joining Swift. And so with that, we'll close it out. Have a great day, everyone. Hope to see you on a future live.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.